Alright, before I begin, let's see. Yep, before I begin, real quick, just want to show you guys, in case you guys were wondering where all those Pansages are. Here they are. By the way, these are the recent shinies I got. So, as you can see here, here is all the Pansages from last time. So you can see, you know, these are the spots where we got the shiny Pansages. All 801. All, not one, 811. Because I keep forgetting about that last final egg. You know, that last egg I need to get before being able to breed again. I don't know if I should count that or not. For now we're going to count it. So, that's where all the Pansages went. They're all about to die, be sent to the Shadow Realm. Just, you know, to let you guys know. So, it took me a little bit of time to get back here to doing this. I have collected, you can barely see, I have collected 810 Pansear eggs, and I pre-walked all of them. Every single one. Now, you know, that alone takes quite a long time, as well as the fact that while I was doing this, I was also, you know, grinding in Pokemon Home for Shiny Meloetta. So, you know, I kept on jumping back and forth, taking even longer to get this, to, you know, get back to this. So, it took me a little bit longer to get back to this than expected, but we're here now. Is it 3D on? That's why. Ah, yes, everyone's favorite Pokemon, Pansear. Well, not a soul on this planet is actually hunting for Pansear, so I will. And you know, I was getting a little bit, like, drained and worn out from doing this. Collecting all 810 eggs, that alone is pretty boring. And then immediately after, pre-walking all of them. Yeah, that's, you know, that's pretty draining to the point it's like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. You know, I just kept on pre-walking them, and then it turns out I still have like 300 left to walk. It's like, oh my god, I don't want to do this anymore. Because, you know, what I was doing was different from actually shiny hunting. Because I was walking them without seeing any results. Because I was saving all the results. So it just kept on, it was just non-stop boring, you know, boring stuff to do. So let me explain real quick. So, collecting all the Pansear eggs, I was extra careful this time not to, you know, not to accidentally walk with a single egg so that, you know, one egg hatches faster than the rest. So I was extra careful not to do that this time. Trust me, I know, I did it myself. Like that has any validity to it, seeing how many eggs I accidentally walked ahead of time before. See, the thing is, like, yes, like, there are, like, one or two that accidentally had not a lot of steps put in, just, like, a handful of steps, like 4 steps, more than the average. So they shouldn't hatch, like, a lap beforehand. See, what I don't understand is, Pansear should hatch the same amount of steps taken for Pansage, which we established is, like, 13 1/3 laps around Prism Tower. So, I tried to do 12 laps around the tower before I stopped. The thing is, sometimes the eggs would hatch not even like 11 laps in. And, you know I didn't accidentally walk a couple eggs that many steps. So I'm just wondering, like, how did that happen? Why did some hatch faster than others when realistically all of them, or, most of them should have the same number of steps put in? I don't know, unless I miscounted. But I saved before every time I walked them, and I counted right. Sometimes they would hatch early, so I don't know. Anyways, enough about that. Regardless, we're back here. We're doing Pansears. Will this focus, please? So once these eggs hatch, let me show you guys something real quick, and then I'll continue. Matter of fact, while that's happening, let me pull up some music and also, pull up some, like, IMDb pages or whatever, because there's a lot of episodes to talk about today, and it's hard to remember which episode number, especially for Agatha. Yeah, I was afraid of this. Man, I was afraid that this would happen. My friends are in a in a voice call right now. I should be in it, but, well, I'm doing this right now. Anyways, so before we continue, let me show you guys something real quick. So, earlier today, my sister came back from her honeymoon to France, and she brought me this. I don't know how well you can see this. This is a very small can of foie gras, which is, duck liver. I don't know how well you can see that. Foie gras well, that's all in French. I didn't read this beforehand, but, it makes sense. This is all in French, since this is, a product of France. Well, that's not all she brought me. She also brought me this. No, this is not booze like I first thought it was. If you guys can see here, this is truffle oil, or at least 1%. This is extra virgin olive oil, 99%, flavored with black truffle, 1%. So yeah, that's what my sister got me when she went to France. I am not gonna cook with this. This is not something to pan-sear with. This is something to drizzle on top of. So I cook a nice plate of pasta. I just put a couple drops of this over top to add a little bit of truffle flavor. I don't know how much flavor there would be, though, if it's just 1% truffle. Though, that's the purpose of this. Maybe a couple slices of toasted baguette. Put a couple drops of this. So yeah, my sister got me that. Anyways, back to it. So anyways, yeah, my friends are in a Discord group chat right now, which I should be a part of, but I'm not, because I'm doing this. Womp womp, whatever. Well, am I shiny hunting? Yep. You guys already know my stance on the topic, so you don't really need me there. Like I told you guys beforehand, like, I should be the last person to really get any sort of vote, because I'm not necessarily too involved. Well, let me just put on something. Something. Anything. So anyways, yeah, my friends are in a Discord group chat right now, group call, discussing a particular matter. I already voiced my opinion yesterday, so they know where I stand. There's not really anything I would add to the discussion. If I were to join, I'd really just sit there and listen. So it's like, I'll let these guys discuss and, solve it, since it's mostly a them problem, Sure, I'm involved, but in a way, kind of by association. Because I'm not really part of the drama, right? Alright, so let's, I suppose, hurry up and talk about all this stuff in case I really do get summoned to join for whatever reason. So we have 4 things to talk about today, 4 episodes of shows to talk about today. So we have episode 4 of Daryl Dixon Season 2, The Book of Carol. We have episode... which episode is it? This is why it's confusing. Let me see. Episode 6. No, is it 7? Oh my god, I don't know anymore. That might be 7. Yeah, I think it's 7. Episode 7 of Agatha All Along. And then we have episode 5 of The Penguin. And then there's also, I think it's episode 4 of Superman and Lois Season 4. Do you see why it's confusing? It's hard for me to remember which episodes it is. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's episode 4. Yeah, it is. I think. I didn't realize Superman and Lois Season 4 was airing on Mondays. So this past Tuesday, today's Thursday, 2 days ago on Tuesday, I was ready to watch it on TV. And then I found out, oh, it aired yesterday. Okay, I do have eggs, good. Why are you running in circles for the past 30 minutes? Shiny hunting, bruh. Hatching eggs. How's the discussion coming along? Have we jumped to any conclusions yet? Is the music too loud? It's hard for me to tell, because I can't check on my own. Can you believe that Pansear, or specifically the evolution to Pansear, Simisear, was voted the least popular Pokemon of all? The least popular Pokemon of them all? Well, you know, technically, something had to hold that honor, or rather, dishonor. Something had to fill that role of least popular of them all, and, well, yeah, Simisear gets that dishonor. I don't know if the person who, you know, created Simisear should be happy or sad. Like, oh man, I created the least popular Pokemon ever. Like, I don't know if I don't know if I created the least popular Pokemon of them all, if I would feel honored or if I would feel pretty shitty. Alright, let's jump into these episodes real quick. So I'm first going to talk about Daryl Dixon, Season 2, Episode 4. Beforehand, this episode was rumored, I guess. That's not shiny, by the way, is it? It looks a little lighter than the rest. No, I don't restore. I hit restore. Okay, it's not. I was just seeing things. No way I was gonna get a shiny that quick, right? Alright, so, Daryl Dixon, Season 2, Episode 4. Before this episode came out, this episode was said to be the best episode of the season so far. So, you know, normally people going in, naturally, hearing that, people would go into the episode with high expectations. Like, oh my god, Norman Reedus himself said that episode 4 and 6 would be the best episodes of the season. So naturally, people would have some higher expectations, right? Was this episode good? Yes, but also no. You know, it has strengths and weaknesses. Before I talk about the actual meat of the episode, let me just say, goddamn, what am I watching, folks? Am I watching Daryl Dixon, or am I watching Fear the Walking Dead? Now, if you don't know, that is quite a big insult. Because, my god, the writing for Season 2 is really going downhill, and I'm not the only one who's noticed. I've seen other people review the show, and they all criticize the same thing. And it's the exact same thing that I have had problems with. Okay, so let's get into it. So the way this episode opens up, we follow up with Carol immediately with how the last episode ended. Carol was in a pretty bad spot. She was put with all the other people by Pouvoir. The entire group of people were about to be executed and turned into those super walkers with the super walker serum. Carol was put in with the crowd, so we were all wondering, how is Carol going to survive this? She is about to be mowed down by a machine gun, a Gatling gun, almost. And if she miraculously survives, she's going to be surrounded by walkers, who's going to be turned into super walkers. So she'll be surrounded by super walkers. And if she gets up to run away, she's surrounded by guys with guns who will shoot her down. So how could she survive this? Is some sort of miracle going to happen? Is some giant coincidence going to happen that'll save Carol's life? Oh my god, the way they wrote this. Okay, so how it happened was Carol backed up into the group. She was either like near the back or in the middle, whatever. She basically used all the other people there as meat shields. Man, you're telling me that big ass gun, the bullets aren't powerful enough to go straight through someone's body and, you know, shoot someone else behind that person? Whatever. Carol is the only one who survived. Not a single other person in that group had any sort of common sense to try to use others as meat shields to try to survive. They all just stood there and took it. It was just Carol who was smart enough to, hang back and use everyone else to shield her. No one else thought of that. Everyone else just accepted we're about to die. So Carol being the only one who survived. Okay, mad convenient. Fine, she survived. What about the other problems? How's she gonna get away? So there she is, alive, next to all the dead bodies. A bunch of Pouvoir scientists and soldiers or whatever. They walk by with the guns, shoot darts full of the serum into the dead bodies. One dart gets shot into Carol, but she just plucks it off and throws it away. She just takes it out of her arm. You can basically hear, this isn't actually in the episode, but you can basically hear a cartoon little, plucking sound effect when she did that. She just bing! Just plucks it out of her arm and just tosses it away. When that happened, when she got shot with that, I'm like, oh shit, Carol got shot with the Super Walker serum. What's that gonna do to her? Nothing. It did absolutely nothing. She just plucked it out of her arm and just tossed it away. Which, there are a lot of things to say about that. For one, it's like, okay, so what happened? Was she wearing too many layers of clothing? Was the jacket too thick and the needle didn't actually poke into her? Did she take it out of her arm fast enough before anything went in? Before any of it got injected? Nothing. Nothing's explained. Will there be any, consequences later on? Like maybe a teensy bit of serum got into her and she'll feel the effects later on? Probably not. So Carol got shot with the serum and nothing happened. She just nonchalantly took it out of her arm, tossed it away. As if nothing happened. That's the first problem. The second problem, no one saw that? None of the Pouvoir guys saw that? They're supposed to be shooting a pile of dead bodies. No one saw one body just moving, pluck off the needle, toss it away. No one saw that? Really? So then, how does Carol get away? Okay, the problems. Am I in my basement? No, I'm in the office. So, the problem of how is Carol gonna survive? She just does. How is Carol safe from the injection? She just is. Okay, how's she gonna get away? The dead bodies are turning. The walkers are rising. They're super walkers now. They're fast and aggressive. How is Carol gonna get away? First of all, I found it pretty stupid that the walkers got up and then turned around to realize Carol was there. Realistically, the walkers should have immediately noticed, hey, there's someone alive on top of us. Bite. Right? It kind of made no sense that the walkers got up, somehow realized Carol was there, and turned around. It made no sense. The walkers should have piled on top of her the moment they even started moving. Anyways, so how does Carol get away? Well, she just gets up and she just runs away. No one shoots at her. No one with the guns shoot at her at all. No one puts in any effort to try to stop her. She just goes to this little golf cart looking vehicle with Cadrone strapped on the back as bait. She just walks up to it, just throws the driver off of it to be eaten by the walkers, and then she just gets in and drives away. Absolutely no problem whatsoever to get away. Oh, the writing, I tell you, the writing is so bad. But, you have to understand. We have to understand. There's only 6 episodes, so the plot has to move forward. They just have to get going. there's simply not enough screen time for anything to play out coherently. It all has to be rushed. Just because of the stinking 6 episodes. Guys, I don't understand. What is it with streaming? What is it with TV shows these days? 6 episodes is not enough. Man, I remember back then when Walking Dead main show, the seasons would have 16 episodes. I remember cable TV when Arrow, Flash, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., each season would have 22 episodes. Yes, that means the budget per episode is a lot lower, and yes, that does mean a lot of filler stories. I'll be honest, I'd rather that than this super rushed, messy, poorly written content. Yes, the budget is much higher per episode, and you can definitely see that. But, like, come on, the story is suffering at the expense of good visuals and production value. And don't get me wrong, this episode did visually look awesome. All the nighttime shots, the nighttime shots of a group of fast-running zombies behind you, that's terrifying. But it visually looked awesome. And then you also had the nighttime shots and also the faraway shots of the nest. All of those looked great. It's the story that's the problem. It's too fast. The story is pacing too fast. That's the problem. To where you have all these stupid coincidences and stupid moments that happen, and we the fans just have to accept it. Anyways, ramble aside. So yeah, Carol just nonchalantly gets away. So, this next coincidence kind of makes sense. Yet again, it's like a big coincidence, like pretty big coincidence. So Carol driving that little golf cart with Codrone strapped on the back, being chased by all those fast walkers. She drives up to the nest, drives right up to the gate, and she stops. She stops. Even Codrone's yelling at her like, "What are you doing? They're coming! Go! The fast-running walkers are coming. Why are you stopped?" She was waiting for Pouvoir to shoot down the front gate to the nest so that Carol can actually drive in. Now, it's coincidence. It's like coincidence writing, but then again, it also makes sense. Carol knew what Pouvoir wanted to do. That was swarm the nest with these super walkers. She knew that, and she saw that Pouvoir. At least I think Carol saw that Pouvoir has a cannon, and Carol probably figured out that, with Codrone strapped to the back of this vehicle, she could probably piece together, okay, their plan is to use him as bait and lure all these walkers into the nest. So, Carol instead took that position. So, in a way, she would think, like, regardless of if I'm driving or not, Pouvoir would still want these walkers into the nest. So, she would assume that Pouvoir would still shoot down the front gate for her, right? That's a pretty big assumption, but it worked. It was pretty coincidence, but fine. I'll give that one a pass. Because at least that one kind of made sense. Carol getting away so easily, yeah, I'm sorry, I cannot give that one a pass. That one was just too convenient. Too easy. But anyways, so so we see Carol just drive into the nest, leading all those fast walkers in. A bunch of nest people get completely devoured. And another thing, as Carol was driving into the nest, a bunch of nest guys were shooting at her. Not a single bullet landed on her. Like, how bad is their aim? Damn, they need aim assist. we see main characters, we see our main characters on these shows shoot people driving, no problem. They shoot they shoot the driver's seat, no problem. But when it's someone else shooting at our characters, they never land a shot. We literally saw this in the first episode of Season 2, when Daryl and the Nest were about to, ambush Pouvoir and Madame Genet. Daryl shot both the people in the driver's seat, no problem. But then when someone shoots at our characters, yeah, they miss every single shot. Anyways, Carol made it to the Nest. She cuts Caudron free, and then she goes searches for Daryl. We follow up with Isabelle, who is being interrogated by Losang. Isabelle pulled a pretty stupid move here. She had that, drain lid, so she used that to attack Losang. She cut Losang's face. Losang, in retaliation, grabs a blade and stabs Isabelle. She didn't die immediately, which I'm glad, because typically in these shows, the person dies immediately from that. But no, she actually survived for a short period. That just proves how weak and, how fragile Losang is. For someone who should be all about faith and whatnot, right? I thought killing was like the ultimate sin. So, she attacks you and cuts you on the face, fine, and you respond by grabbing a blade and stabbing her in the gut. Okay, Losang. Anyways, Isabelle survives, but not for long. So she manages to get up later on. She walks out. She's about to be attacked and eaten by one of the super walkers. But, literally, once again, at the exact last moment, just as teeth were about to sink in, the walker gets shot from behind, and it's Carol. First, I gotta say, Carol was just standing there, so that walker just ran right past Carol. Anyway, so we did see, very briefly, Carol meet Isabelle, and it was great. So Carol met Isabelle. Carol says, "I'm here looking for my friend from America," and obviously Isabelle knows exactly who that is. We get the scene that is pretty terrifying. We see this random guy run away from a walker who is chasing him, running after him. And then, thank God, lucky for him, that walker tripped, right? He got so lucky with that, otherwise he would have been dead. So, yeah, that walker tripped, gave him enough time to grab the key and open the gate for himself. Inside, he sees a chained up Daryl, so he lets Daryl free because he had the key. Daryl then grabs his Morning Star and his knife, just completely mows down all the people there who are fighting the walkers and also trying to fight him. Daryl solos all those guys because Daryl's a badass with plot armor. And once literally everyone's down, he sees one figure left standing there. And he realizes it's Carol. So then he runs up and hugs Carol. No words exchanged. No questioning Carol, how the hell are you here in France? He just accepts it. He sees Carol right there. He goes in, embraces her. That was a great scene, albeit a little bit rushed. But still, it's the lack of dialogue just proves, Daryl just immediately accepted it. But it would have been nice to hear, one line asking, "Carol, how are you here?" Right? It would have been nice to at least hear one line, but no. So anyways, Daryl and Carol go and see Isabelle. She dies, which... Everyone I've seen review this episode all said the same thing. We hate that Isabelle died here. It is such lost potential. everyone I saw was saying how amazing of a character Isabel was in the first season. And, she had a lot of potential. It's like, can you just imagine this? Well, you can only imagine it now because it's never going to happen. Because Isabel's dead. So, imagine if we got Daryl, Isabel, and Carol all together. Plus Laurent, I guess. I don't know what happens to Laurent by the end of the season. This franchise has never been scared to kill off kids. Anyway, so imagine that. Imagine Daryl, Isabel, Carol, and Laurent. Imagine all of them together going to Spain for season 3 and then eventually making it back to America. Right? Isabel felt like such a great character with so much potential. We would have loved to see Isabel go back to America, live at the Commonwealth, meet all the other characters, live a normal life with Daryl. That would have been great to see. Unfortunately, we're never going to get that because she's dead. And I saw a lot of people make the same criticism too. It just felt like Isabel was a fill-in for Carol. And then the moment Carol and Daryl got together, Isabel served her purpose. Now she's dead. Right? I can't help but feel that way too. It really did feel like Isabel was just filling in for Carol until she and Daryl reunited. So, yeah, Carol and Daryl are now reunited. Isabel's dead. Sucks. Such wasted potential. This is not as bad as Carl's death. Nothing will ever top Carl's death. But still, this is still pretty bad. You could have at least saved Isabel for like the end of season 2. Or better yet, she just should not have died. At least not yet. Right? She still had so much story to tell, and now we're just never gonna get that. Whatever. So, Isabel's dead. Carol and Daryl must go and find Laurent. Carol and Daryl, they actually leave the nest as it's turning morning. They're walking away from the nest, and you see the nest is on fire and stuff. Great visuals, by the way. So, they're going to that cave that they planned ahead of time to meet up if anything bad were to happen. So, Daryl's expecting Falou to be there with Laurent. I gotta say, too, also, like, you finally gave Daryl a proper love interest, and you kill her off right away. We never saw him, we never saw anything with him and Connie. We never really saw too much with him and Leah. All that happened off screen. And then, Leah was one of the Reapers, and then she died. Like, we never really saw Daryl with anyone properly, and now that we finally saw something, well, they immediately kill off the character. I can't help but think, like, there's a reason they don't ever write any sort of romance stories with Daryl. It's because, like, in this world, romance is hard to do because, you can lose anyone at any time. So I feel like Daryl, knowing this, he would not, be so quick to jump into a relationship. Well, you kind of just proved that point, writers. You gave him a love interest just to kill her off. What, to prove that point, maybe? It's like you didn't have to follow that, Anyways, so whatever. Daryl and Carol end up at that cave. They realize Falou and Laurent aren't there, so they have to find them. Back at the nest, Lo Sang and whatever his right-hand gal's name is, they actually get interrogated by Madame Genet. And then they get locked up. They're given the same treatment as they gave Daryl and Isabel, being locked up in that, like, shower area. So then, Madame Genet goes herself to look for Daryl. And then, so basically this is where half of the episode changes. So the first half was awesome, albeit the writing was kind of iffy. The first half of the episode was action-packed, it was awesome. Second half was a little bit slow. A little bit weird, also. So Daryl and Carol, they tracked their way to this, like, dead neighborhood where one elderly couple's living at. And before anything else, before that storyline, one thing did happen. And I want to say beforehand, I did get this part spoiled, but I did not know the full details. The spoiler I saw, I think the title said something like, Carol mentions Rick came back. So I knew beforehand a scene coming up talking about Carol on the radio saying who came back. I knew that was coming up. And thanks to that stinking title, I had the expectation, like, Rick came back, right? I didn't know what they talked about. I didn't know what episode it was in. All I knew was a scene talking about that moment was coming up. And the title of the video mentioned Rick. So I kind of expected... I kind of expected them to eventually talk and be like, hey, who came back? You're never going to believe it, Daryl. Rick, he came back. Like, thanks to the title, I expected her to mention Rick. Right? But that's not what happened. So Daryl finally asked Carol, hey, you mentioned before that someone came back. Who was it? Carol mentions, not who, but what. A feeling came back that things weren't going to work out at the Commonwealth. She got a feeling back that things weren't working out at the Commonwealth. So, it wasn't Morgan, it wasn't Dwight, and it sure as hell wasn't Rick who came back. It was a feeling, it was a bad feeling she had about the Commonwealth. You know, on the bright side, I will at least say this. On the bright side, Carol, that means Carol doesn't know Rick came back. So we didn't get an off-screen reaction to that, right? We did not get an off-screen reaction to Carol seeing Rick come back. At least there's that. But for the most part, it's like, wow, that is stupid. That super let us on, right? Season 1 happened over a year ago. Maybe like a year and a half to 2 years ago. For so long, we were theorizing. Who came back? Was it Rick? Was it Morgan? Was it Dwight? Nobody guessed it was a feeling about the Commonwealth. Anyways, moving on. So, yeah, they end up at this weird, creepy-looking dead neighborhood where only one elderly couple's living at. And then, turns out, Laurent and Falou were already there. I didn't buy it for a second. Man, I was tense the whole time watching that. I was thinking, are they gonna, you know... The moment Daryl and Carol turn their backs, are these two gonna hold them at gunpoint? Like, I was tense the whole time. It was just too nice. The two people were too kind. I don't think we even got their names. But, for the most part, it actually seemed genuine. They were just a nice elderly couple who, you know, survived for all these years and were just helping Carol and Daryl. So, they needed a car to get back to Paris. Paris, you know, where Laurent should be. So they need a car. The old couple, they're offering a car, but they just need to fix it up first. A couple of Pouvoir soldiers do show up, but like that didn't lead to anywhere just yet. Carol and Daryl did have a discussion. I forget when in the episode. It might have been before all this. So, you know, Daryl was saying to Carol, like, I don't want the responsibility of Laurent. Like, I don't want the responsibility of a kid in this world. Carol took it the wrong way, I think. Carol was just like, why? Because you don't want to become like me? Daryl instantly knew he may have said something wrong, and he's like, no, not at all. Because we all know what happened to Carol. You know, with Sophia, and then with, crap, what was his name again? Why am I blanking on his name? Henry, that's it. You know, with Sophia, with Henry, and then you also have Lizzie and Mika as well. Like, we know what happened to Carol. So, just as, they're ready to leave, but the old people, they insisted they stay for breakfast first. Actually, before I mention that, something else did happen, where the old lady told Carol, like, come with me, we'll go grab the parts together to fix the car. The old lady was actually about to have Carol go with her into the barn to grab the stuff, and we know what happened with Carol and Barnes. So Carol has this kind of like PTSD flashback to what happened with Sophia, and Carol just, like, you know, lets herself be emotional towards this older lady, and she hugs her, and I was just so scared at this moment. I'm like, is this old lady about to, you know, pull out a knife and stab Carol in the back? No, that didn't happen. But I was tense. I'm not gonna lie, I was tense. So anyways, yeah, they're about to leave. The old couple insisted that they stay for breakfast. They served truffle eggs, which, hey, truffle eggs, right? The bottle is extremely zoomed in. Truffle eggs, right? That's something I can use with this. Obviously, not fry up the eggs or scramble the eggs with this in the pan, right? Or I could, I don't know. Maybe, like, once the scrambled eggs are done, I just put in a couple drops of this on top, you know? Anyway, so they're eating breakfast, they're about to leave, but then Pavoir shows up with Madame Genet. And then the old guy, he points a gun at them, because, you know, he doesn't want to be on the losing side. The old lady, she's just like, you fool, just stands up and just grabs the gun away from him. So, Carol and Daryl hide. Madame Genet comes in, and she's just like, the eggs smell great, may I? So she takes a couple bite of the eggs, which I'm not gonna lie, they did look good. Just the idea of truffle eggs, goddamn, that looks good. That just sounds good. I'm making me hungry right now. So the old couple are trying to cover up for Daryl and Carol. They're saying, like, they left hours ago. They felt something was off, and they left. We tried to stop them, but they just grew too suspicious. Madame Genet, remember, she's a tough cookie. She can tell when someone's lying. So she immediately caught on, like, if they left hours ago, why are the eggs still warm? So she immediately picked up on it. So she orders her goons to go search around. Eventually, like, you know. Well, Carol gets, you know, she gets herself in a bad position. She's on the ground. She's surrounded by two of Genet's guys pointing guns at her, as well as Genet herself. Madame Genet, you know, typical villain trope, doesn't kill her on the spot, but instead talks to her. It's like, do you have any idea what I've lost to get to this point? Pretty funny saying that to Carol, but, like, you know, not like Genet knows that. Daryl comes in, actually kills the other two guys, like, no problem. Now it's just Madame Genet, in between Daryl and Carol. She actually has a gun pointed at Carol, and her finger is pointed towards Daryl. It almost seemed like, you know, she was pointing at Daryl and then being like, no, you don't attack me or I kill her. You know, one hand with a gun pointed to Carol, other hand a finger towards Daryl. Like, no, you stop right there or else I kill her. And, well, this is where another problem happens with the episode. I mean, let me get the good stuff out of the way first. So Carol grabs the dead guy's dart gun. She actually shoots Madame Genet in the back with the Super Walker Serum. It's in her back in a position where she actually can't reach it to just pluck it out before the serum gets injected into her. So Madame Genet is screwed. She has a dart in her back where she can't reach. The serum is getting injected into her, and we see firsthand what happens when the serum gets injected to a living person. And it is horrific. It is scary. Like, that looks like a torturous way to die. And it was awesome. It looked incredible. It was so horrific, the way Madame Genet died. See, I saw a lot of questions be brought up about this moment. First of all, it seemed like the serum had to be injected into a dead body in order for it to work. Because so far up to this moment, we've seen dead bodies before they turn, and actually even after they've turned. Just, a dead body in general, getting shot with the serum, they turn into a super walker, right? First, I saw a question be raised up. How does the serum spread throughout the body if there's no blood pumping? I laughed when I first heard that because I'm like, oh yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. If there's no blood pumping inside of the body, how does that serum spread? Right. I laughed when I first heard that, but whatever. So it seems like it needs to be a dead body for the serum to work. We didn't see Madame Genet's corpse come back up and, go crazy. But it's like, I don't see why it wouldn't. I don't see why injecting someone alive wouldn't have the same effect. The serum would just kill the person, as we've seen with Genet, and the body would be dead, and then the serum would already be in the body, right? The body will turn into a walker regardless, and the serum's already in the body. So, it should still work. My guess is we just didn't see it. They probably shot her in the head or stabbed her in the head before she had a chance to come back off screen. So my guess is it would still work, they just didn't show it. So, the problem here is Madame Genet is dead. The main villain is dead. So, where's the story gonna go now, right? And also, what wasted potential? Maybe not as big wasted potential as, like, General Beale, arguably. Both were villains who just did not live up to, like, the hype, the expectations, the potential. So, Madame Genet is dead. You literally just told her backstory the episode prior. So, like, man, I'm not gonna lie, that's just kind of poor writing. Not gonna lie. Just a teensy bit, that's a little bit poor writing. But the writers and showrunner were only given 6 episodes. They had to do what they had to do. As unfortunate as it is. So, Carol and Daryl are on their way... Well, let's focus. There we go. Carol and Daryl are on their way to Paris. Actually, the old lady was shot and killed, sadly. She was actually the good person in the couple. So, yeah, Carol and Daryl are on their way to Paris to try to find Laurent. Back at the nest, Genet's second-hand lady, as well as the scientist guy, they actually, joined forces with Losang. So now Pouvoir and the Nest are one. They're aligned. They're one big group now. So, it's like Madame Genet may be dead, but then again, both of their forces have combined now to try to find Laurent. And goddamn, I just want to slap some sense into Lo Sang, like really badly. Because Isabelle, before she died, she actually brought up a really good point. She was saying, like, Laurent is human. He can be killed. Just like Jesus. Just like, I don't know who else she said. Buddha? So for Lo Sang to have this stupid mentality, this stupid, almost obsession to prove Laurent is the savior, the key to saving humanity by stupidly having him bit to prove what? That he won't die? That he won't turn? That's idiotic. And he's sticking with it. Even being told a really good point. He's human. He can die. Just like Jesus. You know, the guy you have so much faith in. That's a really good point, right? And for Lo Sang to basically just ignore it, be like, nah, I know what I'm doing. God damn, I just want to slap some sense into Lo Sang. So, the Nest and Pouvoir have joined forces now, and they share a common goal. Find Laurent. Genet wanted Laurent dead, and Lo Sang wants Laurent to prove that, proves their faith isn't for nothing. In the way they kind of want the same thing, but not really. So, like, I'm not saying the writing is bad, like they're given a bad plot line. I'm just saying, man, what a stupid idea you have, Lo Sang. Well, regardless. There was a brief mention in this episode how Carol got to France. She mentioned to... excuse me. She mentioned to Daryl, like, I have a pilot ready to take us back to America. There better be some sort of lines where, like, okay, Daryl, listen, I told this guy a lie that I came all the way here for Sophia. Wait, Sophia? But she died. I know. I had to lie to him to get him to fly me here to find you. Daryl, you're gonna have to trust me, and you're gonna have to follow with it, right? You're gonna have to pretend like Sophia, was the goal initially, or maybe pretend you're Ed, right? Imagine if Carol actually did that. She actually goes back to Ash, be like, "Oh, I couldn't find Sophia. Turns out she died a long time ago. But hey, here's my husband from like 15 years ago. This is Ed. Can you believe he's still alive? Anyways, can you fly us both back to America? Plus this boy Laurent. Can you imagine that? We'll just have to wait and see." Anyways, that was a lot to talk about for Daryl Dixon, Season 2, Episode 4. This this was said beforehand to be the best episode so far, and then Episode 6 will be the best 1 hour of Walking Dead ever. So, already hyping us up. Was this the best episode yet? In terms of, like, what happened, in terms of, like, plot points, yes. In terms of the writing and the conveniences that happened, no. I just can't help but, compare this to Fear the Walking Dead and the writing in that show. But, like, if you just know how big of an insult that really is. What this show needs badly is more episodes. If we had 8 or 10 episodes, there wouldn't be this problem. The story would be stretched out more, the pacing wouldn't be so rushed. And hey, we would get more content, which is ultimately a plus. You guys remember back in the good old days when Walking Dead had 16 episodes a season? It would span the entire year with like a couple months break for the mid-season break. That was fine. You know, we actually got content throughout the year, albeit sometimes the writing was a little infuriating. Glenn's fake out death. Okay, what other music can I put on? You know, there were times when we would have to be patient and wait several weeks for a storyline's resolution. No, you are not about to play a Pop-Tarts ad right now. You know, it was either that, a mid-season break, couple of filler episodes, waiting multiple weeks for a resolution. It was either that, or what we get now. Basically waiting minimum a year for 6 episodes where the pacing is extremely rushed and the storyline, you can see the cracks in the writing. You know? Now, personally for me, I would rather go back to ye old days where we would get, like, dozens of episodes a season, where some would be filler, some would be slower. It's like, yeah, I would prefer that over what we're getting now. Now, can you imagine this? Imagine this for just a moment. Imagine if these spin-off shows, instead of 6 to 8 episodes, because Dead City Season 2 is getting 8 episodes, imagine if these shows, each season, had 16 episodes. Can you imagine that? Imagine if Daryl Dixon, per season, had 16 episodes. Yes, I know. The quality would be lower. The budget would be lower per episode. Fine, let's say not 16. Let's say 12. Let's meet in the middle. 12 episodes seems like a healthy amount to me. Hell, I'll take 8. That's at least better than the 6 we're getting right now. Like, can you just imagine that, though? We get double the episodes we're getting now. Instead of 6 episodes, we get 12. So the pacing can be twice as slow. Well, no. Or at least, like, half the speed it's currently going. There, that makes more sense. So yeah, I'm enjoying this show, don't get me wrong. I love these spin-offs. I love this universe, but like, oh, I can't help but notice the flaws, the issues, right? There are good moments, of course, but there's also a lot of bad moments that deserve the criticism so that the writers, the show writers, everyone behind the scenes can improve, right? Oh, that was a lot of discussion for Daryl Dixon. Let's move on, okay? So we have 3 more episodes of shows to talk about. Hopefully these shouldn't take too long. Up next, I'm going to talk about... Let me take a sip first. I just spilled a whole bunch of water on my lap. Well, more accurately, on my thigh. You know, my thunder thighs. Anyways. So up next, we have Agatha All Along, episode 6? It's hard to tell. I think it's 6. Because episode 7 came out yesterday, and I didn't watch it yet. No, I think it might be... Oh my god. No, I think it might... I don't know. No, it actually might be 7. No, I think it is 7. Because episode 6 was, I see it here in front of me, Familiar by Thy Side. That's the episode that we learn Teen's identity. So it should be episode 7. So episode 7 came out last night. And yeah, I did watch it last night. So I guess I didn't realize I watched the episode right as it came out. So, Agatha All Along, episode 7. This one was... I'm not gonna lie, the pacing was a little weird, but I liked it. They finally started to explain all the weird stuff we've been hearing Lilia say throughout the season. So, this was mostly a Lilia-centered episode. And it is confusing at first. We jump back and forth between time for Lilia. It turns out that Lilia, like, she gets her consciousness displaced throughout time quite often. She said that it's been happening to her since she was a kid, and then it stopped. Now it's back, and it's getting worse. She said, like, time is, like, linear. Time isn't linear or whatever. She said something about time, and, you know, it really makes me think. That sounds a lot like what Kang the Conqueror said, right? Because Kang was like, time isn't what you think. You know? But, you know, we know that they're moving away from Kang the Conqueror, sadly. So, whatever. And I'm not gonna lie, this episode, once again, it was woke. It was. There were woke elements in this episode, once again. Okay, so it turns out Lilia and Jen, they're alive from Teen, or rather Billy Maximoff, sending them into the quicksand, basically. The mud pit. They're alive. So, Billy and Agatha, they actually go to this, like, castle-looking place. Once again, the aspect ratio changes, and it's really, like, a lot of Disney character references. Agatha is dressed up as, like, you know, just your generic green witch. Green skin, pointy hat, pointy nose. So she's dressed up as, like, what you would picture when you first think of a witch. Billy, he's actually dressed up like Maleficent, if I'm not wrong. The evil queen. Later on in the episode, I think Jen is dressed up like Gandalf. And Lilia is dressed up as the fairy godmother. And then she said that was degrading. It's like, come on, people. So I guess guys shouldn't wear suits? I guess guys shouldn't wear... What do guys wear? Right? We just wear normal clothing. Whatever, right? Weirdly enough, like, this episode first started off with Lilia, for some reason, in a princess dress. We'll learn why later on. Falling. And we don't know why. We'll find out later on. So then, we see her get displaced throughout time. We also see moments from previous episodes when she would just spew random stuff out of nowhere. Like, they finally pieced it together. They finally pieced together what she was saying and why. It's because from different points in time, she was going through different things, and then she would go back in time and say something that was happening at the moment, if that even makes sense. Well, blah blah blah, their trial is tarot cards, blah blah blah, they need Lilia, and then she just pops in. The Salem 7 are close on their ass. They're about to reach them, so they need to hurry up. So the trial, they need to do stuff with the tarot cards before the swords from the ceiling fall, and the swords on the ceiling come down and crush them. Man, there was also one woke line. I forget exactly what it was said. Billy basically said he's like a queer something. Just like, come on now. Wow, that is such cringe writing. explicit mention of queer, huh? You see what Hollywood's doing? You see what all this woke nonsense is doing? And if it's happening to me, you know damn well it's happening to others out there. Where the moment someone hears anything, absolutely anything, inclusive at all, we just instantly go like, oh my god, again with the pandering, right? You know, to me it seems more like Hollywood's doing more harm than good with all this woke shit. It's kind of just making people sick and resent inclusiveness even more. Don't you think? There's a chance that people watching all this woke garbage, they're gonna be like, oh my god, I'm so sick of all this pandering. I'm sick of all this gay stuff on my screen. And then, let's say the moment they actually meet a gay person in real life, they're like, oh my god, I'm so sick of all this. Right? Whoops. So I feel like Hollywood's doing more harm than good. So stop it. Okay, so there were 3 more eggs that didn't hatch yet. Eventually, the episode, with its weird pacing, did get pretty good. It's also revealed that, or rather brought back to, that it was indeed Lilia who put the sigil on Teen, or Billy. So technically, Billy Maximoff, he didn't know that at the time, since it wasn't him. At the time of the sigil being placed onto him, it was actually William Keplin, but then he died. So, anyways, yeah, at the end of the episode, it was actually decent. Like, it was pretty, I don't want to say inspiring, but it was like, you're rooting for the character. You just saw Lilia go through, like, this entire journey, this entire arc. And then right now, at the very end, where she's doing her tarot card, she realizes it's not meant for Billy, it's meant for her. And, you know, you're rooting for her. So, they pass the trial, the door opens, the Salem 7's about to breach. So everyone leaves. But Lilia chooses to stay back and, I guess, take care of the Salem 7. Because she flips the tower card back to, I guess, right side up. Because it was upside down initially. She flips the card, so the gravity, I suppose, changes in the entire room. The Salem 7 fall towards the sword-infested ceiling. So all of the Salem 7 gets stabbed and presumed killed. So does Lilia. And that's what the beginning of the episode meant. Lilia falling in a fairy godmother dress. We saw what happened. Why that was the case. It was the end of the episode. Lilia sacrificed herself so that everyone else can move on. And then it's also revealed, this is a pretty big reveal, that Aubrey Plaza's character Rio is Death. She is Death in the MCU. I know New Rockstars was theorizing about this because they noticed some sort of, like, strange behaviors with her. Her, you know, her black hooded outfit, her disregard for death, her just being a little bit different from the rest. When everyone else with the Ouija board, everyone was freaking out and she was just laughing. And when the Ouija board was like, you know, who's with us today? And the Ouija board spelled out death, it was serious. Because Death, Lady Death, really was with them. And that's Rio. So, you know, W to New Rockstars, they got that theory right. Anyway, so, like, starting to notice a pattern here. Alice Wu died a couple episodes ago. Now Lilia died. I guess we know who's next. Sorry, Jen. I guess we know. They also wrote in, like, so Billy asked Agatha, is the Scarlet Witch really dead? She's like, yes. No. Maybe. We're not sure. No one knows. that alone just means no. No, she's not dead. No, she is not dead. Oh. Welp. Now let's talk about... You are not about to play a L'Oreal ad. Now let's talk about the next show, being Penguin. This was episode 5, if I'm not mistaken. I think so. Let's see. Penguin. Yeah, episode 5. Oh man, guys, I gotta tell you. So far, the Penguin has been excellent. This show has been excellent so far. You know, there's a reason why I watch Penguin after Agatha. I just need a palate cleanser of excellent content after all that woke bullshit that I see in Agatha all along. So to go from Agatha, which is just... It is what it is. To go from that to something incredible like Penguin, yo. Watching Agatha before Penguin just makes Penguin look even better. So this was episode 5. Last episode we had more of a intermission, I guess, where we flash back to Sophia's origin story of how she was imprisoned by her father Carmine into Arkham Asylum wrongfully. So she spent a decade in Arkham Asylum for, you know, killing women that she did not kill. So this episode dealt with the aftermath of 2 episodes ago. I can't lie, this episode was pretty good. It was really good. So this episode starts off with the destruction of Oz's plum car, so rest in peace to that. Damn. It was a nice car, too. So, what happened was... I forget her name. Salvador Maroni's wife, I forget her name. Well, I'm sure I can look it up right now. Nadia, I think. Nadia Maroni. Nadia Maroni confronted Oz, basically stealing his new drug empire. Did I win yet? No, no shinies yet. So yeah, Nadia Marone, not Falcone, Nadia Maroni stole Oz's new drug empire, so he wants it back. So what does Oz do? Well, he offers a trade by abducting their son and offering, like, you get your son back, I get my drugs back. Okay, I guess that works. So he actually goes to a tattoo parlor, he abducts Taj Maroni, and uses him as leverage to get his mushrooms and drugs back. Hey, it worked. Obviously, Sal and Nadia were pissed, right? So, before the trade happens, Oz tells Vic, like, can you go watch my mother, please? You know, like, this is some pretty dangerous stuff we're getting into. Please watch my mother. I just love how invested Vic is into all this now. Like, he seems to enjoy this life now. Which, I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm glad he is. Is that bad? Like, I can... how weird does this sound? Just like Oz, I too can see the potential that Vic has, right? Like, is that bad of me to say? Anyways, the trade goes down, and wow, I did not see this coming. So, the trade happens, you know, Taj Maroney for the mushrooms. So Oz takes Taj out of the back of the truck. He's dripping wet, almost like he's been tortured, like he's been waterboarded. So, so Taj walks over to his mother. His mother hugs him, obviously. But it turns out it wasn't water, it was gas. So Taj left a gas trail. Oz lights it, and he burns both of them. That was intense. That was a moment I did not see coming. He burned both of them. So Oz, with the intention of, you know... Oh, right. But actually, before that. While making the deal at the prison where Salvador is held, he actually... Well, one egg got hatched there. He actually tipped off the guard, one of the prison guards there, to try to take out Sal in prison. And then on the news, he hears that the entire Falcone family has been wiped out. They all died in a gas leak, with Sophia being one of the only survivors, along with Johnny Viti. So we learned just how smart Sophia was at the end of the last episode. She now has an alibi. That little girl that she took to the greenhouse with, that little girl can say, Sophia was with me the whole night. She couldn't possibly have done anything to kill the family. So yeah, Oz knows that the Falcones are gone, except for Sophia. Oz also knows that, like, he can use this to his advantage. If he simply takes out the Maronis, then Gotham's his for the taking. He gets his drug empire back. Both crime families are gone, right? Oz sees a major opportunity here. So yeah, Oz kills off 2 Maronis. He's expecting the prison guard that he tipped off to take out Sal, right? Sadly, the mushrooms, most of them are destroyed because they're fragile, right? He has like 2 buckets left of them. He can grow more. And he does plan to by the end of the episode. It turns out Salvador survived the attack, and he actually broke free from prison thanks to getting the keys from that prison guard. So now Salvador's out, and he's after Oz, especially now that Oz has killed the man's wife and son. So Oz also needs to lay low. He asks Vic to take his mother to someplace safe to lay low, and Vic decides to take them to hide at Crown Point? Still in Gotham? Why did you just leave the city? Like, if they find out where you are, the Falcones and... Well, not the Falcones. The Maronis could just, like, drive up to where you are. Real quick. You're not that far away. Yes, you make a good point, like, the Maronis don't think to look at Crown Point because the place is, like, the shittier side of Gotham. But, like, you're still in the city. You're still right there. They can get to you very quickly. Why didn't you just leave the city and go to another state? Whatever. So yeah, they all need to lay low. Sophia, she actually drops the name Falcone and takes her mother's name, Gigante, I think. So she's now Sophia Gigante. She holds this, like, board meeting, and she spills the beans like, I gassed the family. I'm in charge now. I am no longer a Falcone. I am a Gigante. And if you work for me, I will treat you good. I will not treat you like cannon fodder. And then, actually before that, she actually had Johnny Vitti tortured, basically. She had him chained up and, like, uncomfortably cold temperatures. Because Sophia wanted untraceable cash, and she knew her father, Carmine, had that, but she doesn't know where it is. She knows Johnny knows where it is, but Johnny won't tell her. So she's going to torture that information out of him. Instead, Johnny offers to work for her. To my surprise, she kind of agreed, but later on I understand why. So during that board meeting, Johnny was trying to stop her, like, okay, hold on a second, Sophia. Maybe you shouldn't be telling all this to them. Sophia pulls out a gun and just shoots him in the head right on the spot. So Johnny Vitti is now dead. Sophia's in charge. She just dumps a bag of money right onto his blood, which I feel like, isn't American money still made of paper? So if you wash it, it can still fall apart. Have you guys seen how indestructible Canadian bills are? But anyways, like, so yeah, Sophia now has an army behind her. And then later on, she actually goes and meets Salvador Maroni to make peace. She's like, your family's gone, my family's gone. We both want revenge on Oswald. Let's join forces. Let's join our two families together who have been at war for so long. Let's call a truce. Let's call a peace treaty. We band together. We join forces. Kill Oz. Once he's dead, we take over Gotham. Yikes. Oz is in a pretty bad position right now. Well, Victor taking Oz's mother to Crown Point, he actually did spot, that one bad guy that we saw in the previous episode. Like, the flashback to when the Riddler's flood happened. I forgot what his name was. Snake? I forget what his name was. The bad guy. So, Oz wanted to avoid being spotted by him, but clearly we saw that he was spotted. So, I wonder how that's going to play in later on. I really want to see Oswald beat the shit out of him. I want to see that. I want to see... What was his name again? I swear to God. Oh yeah, I also didn't realize Mark Strong was the one who was playing Carmine Falcone. I thought he looked familiar. What was his name? What was his name? We also saw Julian Rush join forces with Sophia. Oh, what was his name? Well, whatever his name was, I want to see him, mess with Victor, and then big, scary Oswald Cobblepot shows up and just basically kills him. I want to see that happen. Please let that happen. Alright, well, by the end of the episode, Oz has a pretty heartwarming talk with his mother. As heartwarming as you can get with these kind of characters. We learned that Oswald actually had two brothers who also died at some point. Now, I don't really know too much of Oswald Cobblepot's story, so I didn't know he had brothers. Maybe that's new to the show, maybe that was in the comics. I'm not too sure. So then, Oz actually takes Vic down to this, abandoned train station. It's been abandoned even when Oz was a kid, so no one's gonna find them. No one even knew it existed, really. So then Oz is like, Vic, you know what this place is? It's dark, it's damp, it's moist, Well, he didn't say moist. He said it's dark and damp. You know what thrives here? Mushrooms? Yes, mushrooms. Welcome to our new base of operation. I'm not gonna lie, I smiled for that. I'm like, yes! Yes! Drug dealers winning, yes! Yes, these gangsters and drug dealers are winning, yes! I'm rooting for their success. Which I cannot believe. You know? Like, this show is that good. You like Oswald. You like Victor. You like what they're doing. You want them to succeed. And you want them to stick it to the Falcones and the Maronis. I think Bruce Wayne's going to have a problem with that later on. But, well, until you know, they have the budget to bring him back. We'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, this episode was great. This show is excellent. Alright, so aside from this, let's talk about the fourth and final episode to talk about tonight. And that is episode 4 of Superman and Lois Season 4. I gotta say, folks, the CGI, the visuals in this show, it is mind-blowingly good. Especially for this being a damn CW production. The freaking CW. You know, the CW, the same network that gave us the atrocious CGI of The Flash and other shows. This is a CW production. And this show looks almost movie quality. Especially this episode. This episode, some of the visuals looked incredible. Yes, there were spotty moments here and there, but, you know, it's forgivable, given the show it is. So, in this episode, Clark is back. He's back, he's alive, because he has Sam Lane's heart injected with the Bruno Mannheim serum, derived from Superman's blood. So, Superman's back, but he's kind of nerfed. He's not the same Superman before. He, you know, can't hear as well. He doesn't seem to be as hypersensitive. He doesn't seem to be indestructible. So he seems like he's not the same. So this episode actually focuses around like Kyle and Chrissy. They were getting married. Well, the wedding falls flat, so then Lois offers like, why don't you get married at our farm? At our barn. So the wedding's about to happen there. Things happen. Chrissy walks out of the wedding just because she thinks it's happening too fast. We get the moment between Lois and Jordan. Which, throughout the episode, we also see Jordan is still hung up on that phone call that Lex played him. What I find funny is that Jordan has a copy of it. He has a copy of that recording on his own phone. So I'm thinking, like, how did you get that? Did Lex Luthor email it to you? How did you get that? Like, did you ask Lex to give it to you, or did he voluntarily give it to you just to torture you more? Like, how did you get that? Right? So I'm questioning, like, how did Jordan have that recording? There was also one plot point where they found the Gretchen lady that Sam was dating. They found her in Metropolis since she was laying low. Lois offered to protect her if she, you know, would talk about Luthor. Gretchen, or whatever her real name was like, I've seen what Lex does to people who betray him. Even if you do protect me, I'm done for. Oh crap, the music's over. Uh-oh. Nope. Nope. Stop that ad. You are not about to play a Call of Duty Black Ops 6 ad. So yeah, we know that Gretchen is in Lex's crosshairs. What else? Well, yeah, we meet Chrissy's mom, who's like not really that important in this episode. You know, I'm starting to notice. I've noticed this before, obviously, but in this episode, I've really started to notice the budget cut. You know, the actors, they don't the secondary characters. They don't have as big roles in this season as they did previous seasons, and you can really tell. First 3 episodes, Kyle and Chrissy didn't show up. It's like each episode only had the budget to afford like a certain number of characters. First and second episode, we saw Lana and Sarah, and then the next episode we saw John Henry and Natalie. This episode, we only really see Kyle and Chrissy along with Sarah. I'm thinking like Kyle and Chrissy are getting married in Clark and Lois's barn. Lana not showing up, fine. I can understand that. She doesn't want to go to her ex-husband's new wedding. Fine, I can get that. But, you know, like wouldn't John Henry and Natalie show up as well? Right? Whatever. We also do get this awesome, and I mean incredible sequence where Superman is training Jonathan instead of Jordan, and Jonathan's a natural. Jonathan picks up on what to do right away. He already picked it up before, you know, Superman came back. So he does the same thing. He jumps off the edge and starts flying. And this time, I love this callback. Jonathan actually understands the references that Clark has. So he says the Keffel Run, and then John's like, he says something along the lines of like extra points if you beat it within like 12 parsecs or whatever he said. Like, I just love that. Jordan didn't understand his father's references, but Jonathan does. I love that. So yeah, Jonathan jumps, and he's a natural. He flies. I just love these little moments where it's like, pull up John, and then he just flies straight through an iceberg. It's like, or fly through it. Dealer's choice. So they continue to fly, you know. Clark's like, you ever see Fury Road? They fly together, which was absolutely incredible visuals. The CGI looked so good. It was so good. So we see father and son flying together. It was amazing. But then because Superman has a new heart, a human heart inside his chest, he doesn't feel right, so he actually collapses. And once again, that CGI looked incredible. So we now know that Superman needs to take it easy. He's not the way he was beforehand, at his prime, at his peak. Anyways, like later on in the episode, I don't even think Lex Luthor showed up in this episode. Later on in the episode, the wedding happens. There's a fire in Metropolis, so Jonathan goes. Jordan actually stays back. Because prior in the episode, I didn't even finish this point. Jordan somehow had that phone call and he still hung up over it. Man, when I saw that, I was thinking, Jordan, you cannot seriously still be upset at that. Like, come on now. Well, Lois and Jordan talk it out. And it turns out Jonathan's not upset about the phone call and the fact that his mother chose his brother over him. He's upset that, you know, she was right. Did I just say she? Jordan is upset that she's right. Because right now Jordan is doubting himself a lot. He just can't think like he does anything right. He feels like all he does is screw up. And I'm not gonna lie, I understand. I can relate because that's exactly how I feel about basically everything. So I understand how Jordan feels. And of course, Lois being a W mom, she assures him, like, no, honey, that's not the case. So it seems like Jordan and Lois finally make up, at least for the time, it seems like. Like, they're on good terms again. You know, Clark, he kind of inspired Lois, too. He was like, remember, when I went to that other world and I came back, John and we weren't in a great place, right? Like, he kind of inspired Lois to, you know, also pull through with it. Well, or get past it. So anyways, as the wedding's about to happen, there's a fire in Metropolis, so Jordan hangs back. Jonathan goes instead. There's a big fire, actually. So Jonathan shows up, and he notices someone is trapped behind the blaze. He just walks through the fire. I was about to criticize, like, wait a second, is his regular clothing not going to catch on fire? So I was about to criticize that, but then he actually does react like there's a fire on his shoulder and he pats it off. Okay, I'm glad they at least acknowledged it. Because if he just walked right past the fire with his normal clothes not catching on a blaze, I would have been pissed. But they did cover it. I'm glad they did that. So Jordan sees, So Jonathan sees that it's actually Gretchen trapped behind the flames, and she mentions that it's actually Lex trying to take her out. And then there's this, like, Lex goon who fires these, like, fisticuffs arm cannon flamethrowers at him. So Jonathan's in trouble. Jordan tells his dad, like, Dad, didn't you hear that? It's Jonathan. He's in Metropolis. So Superman shows up, and oh my god, he looks clean. That Superman shot looked clean. So the dude's like, you're supposed to be dead. He shoots Superman with the flamethrowers, and it does nothing to him. He just walks right into the flamethrowers. And it was awesome. It visually looked great. So he obviously stops the guy with the arm cannon flamethrowers. The wedding doesn't exactly happen, you know, they call off the wedding, but they're like, we're gonna continue this wedding another day, but for now, why don't we just get our party on? So they dance, they celebrate. Afterwards, the boys aren't in the house, it's just Clark and Lois, they're about to bang. Lois gets a notification on her phone. They're like, are you gonna get that? Not a chance. On the phone, we get some rather concerning notifications. Because on the phone, it's just non-stop notifications of articles saying Superman's alive. Is Superman back? Surely, Lex Luthor is going to see that. You know, the whole reason they wanted Superman to lie low was because if Lex Luthor found out Superman was alive, he's just gonna send Doomsday after him again. Doomsday already killed Superman. Right now, Superman's back, and he's not at full power yet. Even when Superman was at full power, he still couldn't stop Doomsday. So, you see how big of a problem, how concerning it is if Lex Luthor finds out Superman's alive? And, well, that's where the episode ends. They did release a mid-season trailer, because we are technically in the back end of the season now. Finally, Lex Luthor shaved that goddamn beard. We get to see a clean-shaven, completely bald Lex Luthor. Finally! I don't know what Warner Brothers' obsession with giving Lex Luthor beards has been lately. Let me just look up his name once again. Because, why am I not remembering? What was his name again? The guy who played Lex Luthor on Titans. Yes, Titus Welliver, that's his name. You know, they gave it to John Cryer on Supergirl. They gave a beard. Yeah, they gave a beard to John Cryer's Lex on Supergirl. They gave a beard, a big-ass beard, to Titus Welliver on Titans. And then they gave a pretty big goatee kind of beard to Michael Cudlitz's Lex on Superman and Lois. I don't get the obsession with giving this man a beard when he's supposed to be clean-shaven, completely bald except for basically eyebrows and eyelashes. That's all the hair on his face. Well, nose hairs, but that's inside. Whatever. So I don't understand their obsession with giving him a beard. So, I was so happy when I first saw the trailer and they showed he was going to shave that goddamn beard. He's also going to get his Lexo suit as well. Which, remember, John Henry Iron's Steel suit should be a Lexo suit, just repurposed into steel. Damn, I really hope... They're probably not going to call him Superman Steel, like, at all. They're just going to stick to calling him Steel. I hope he gets the red cape. He's probably not going to get the red cape throughout the season. He's probably going to get it like the very, and I mean very end of the final episode, where it's like a flash forward into the future and then we see him flying with the red cape. I think that's all we're going to see. And if we get that, I'll still be glad. I'll still be happy. We at least saw a red cape on him at some point. So that's what I'm hoping for. That was a lot of talking. Well, that's all the episodes I have to talk about for today. I don't have an episode of From to talk about because I haven't watched episode 3 yet. You know, my bitch-ass friend who recommended the show to me, like basically non-stop, wouldn't shut up that I should watch From. You guys know my disappointment with the show previously. You know, when I saw episode 2, I'm just like, man, I got this episode hyped up so much to me, and it was nothing special. It was just a regular episode. So I'm pretty disappointed with From so far, and I understand it's only been 2 episodes. I need to watch more. It should get better later on. But man, am I not enjoying taking it slow and just, you know, essentially torturing my friend with, like, how slow I'm doing this, right? It's like time to give it back to him. You know, he literally texted me, like, earlier this week. Oh, you know what? Speaking of earlier this week alone, I caught 3 0 IVs in Pokemon Go. I caught a 0 IV Grimer in a Pokeball. W. I think it was yesterday. I caught a 0 IV Frillish in a Great Ball. L. And then earlier today, I got a 0 IV Meltan in a Great Ball. L. And, you know, it hasn't even been a week. I caught the Grimer 4 days ago. So in 4 days, I caught 3 0 IVs. That is incredibly rare. Anyways, like, moving on. But that's all besides the point. Earlier this week, my friend texted me and he's like, come on, man, I got no one to talk to about... I got no one to talk to with about From. I don't have anyone to talk to about shows with. I'm just like, oh, boo-hoo, poor you. You don't have anyone to talk to about shows with. Oh, boo-hoo. Where have I heard that before, huh? You know how many shows I've watched that I have no one to talk to about? Boy, if you don't shut your ass up. You know, talk to me about, I got no one to talk to about shows with. It's like, boy, I ought to smack your ass in the face. You know how many shows I have that I would love to discuss with someone, but I literally have no one to talk to about the shows I watch. I don't know anyone who watched all of Walking Dead or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or actually sat through all 9 seasons of The Flash. Right? I don't have anyone to talk to about that stuff. No one I talk to has, and I don't blame them for this, has watched Legends of Tomorrow or Batwoman. I don't blame them for those ones. I don't know anyone to talk to about regarding Daredevil and the rest of the Netflix shows. So it's like, man, you're always bugging me about watching From so that you can actually have someone to talk to about the show with. It's like, I ought to slap you. Talk to me about, I don't got anyone to talk to about shows. Bitch, I ought to... And you know, yeah, I can't lie, I'm having fun with this. Because I literally texted him earlier today. It's like, man, I'm gonna hit your ass with what you told me a couple years ago when you quit the shows I recommended. You know? I'm gonna hit your ass with the exact same things you said to me. Oh, From is boring. It's not exciting. I might quit the show. There's no action. It's just people talking. It's so boring. You know this bitch boy of a friend I got? He quit Walking Dead after season 2. Now, I'm not saying that Walking Dead is incredible throughout its entire run. Obviously, there are good and bad to every show, right? But, come on. He quit after season 2. He didn't get to what everyone what everyone sees as the peak, being season 5, or like more of like the downfall around like season 7 and 8. Like, yes, The Walking Dead wasn't perfect throughout its entire run, but it's like, you didn't even give it a chance. You didn't even continue after season 2. So yeah, he literally texted me watching the very first episode. He's just like, you know, that moment when Shane and Rick were talking in the car before the police shootout and before Rick's coma, he was just like, man, these two guys are just talking about women. It's boring. I'm just like, bruh. Now I'm gonna hit your ass with the same thing you told me. Man, From is boring. There's nothing happening in From. It's just people talking. It's boring. I think I might quit the show. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm just having the time of my life, just hitting him back with exactly the things that he said to me. I need to think of some other music to play. Well, this came to mind, so I'm gonna play it. Oh, that's a lot of talking tonight. I don't talk this much in like a week. Like, I'll be more than glad to list out all the shows I've watched, you know, and just so you guys can get a sense of just how little I have, you know, in regards to people to talk with about this stuff, because I don't have anyone to talk to about this stuff. And this boy really has the nerve to tell me, like, one show he has no one to talk to about with. Obviously, I've watched all the Walking Dead shows, so Walking Dead main show, Fear the Walking Dead World Beyond, Tales of the Walking Dead, and then 3 spin-offs. Dead City, Daryl Dixon, and The Ones Who Live. That alone is 8 shows. Talk to me about some. I got no one to talk to about From with. All of the DC Arrowverse and, Arrowverse adjacent shows I've watched. So, obviously, Arrow, Flash, Legends, Supergirl, Batwoman, Black Thunder. Black Thunder? Black Lightning. And then, all the adjacent shows like Stargirl, Titans, Doom Patrol, Lucifer, Swamp Thing, Ooh. Sorry, there was just a knock at the door, and I was just told there were fresh steaks given to us from my friend at the... This is gonna sound ridiculous, and I'm not kidding. There was literally just a knock at the door telling me my dad's friend, who is a chef at the CN Tower, I kid you not, he just brought over some fresh new steaks for us. Ooh. So anyways, the CN Tower in Toronto. So yeah, all the all the Arrowverse adjacent shows. Stargirl, Titans, Doom Patrol, Swamp Thing, Lucifer. I've seen all of Smallville. I even gone back and watched the canceled Birds of Prey, Constantine, 90s Flash. Peacemaker as well. Marvel, well, that's even more to list out. I watched all of the, pre-Disney Plus era Marvel shows, or at least the ones that are canon to the MCU. Obviously, there's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., all the Netflix shows, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Defenders, Punisher. That alone's already 7 shows altogether. And then I watch all the other ones, like Runaways, Cloak and Dagger, Hellstrom, Inhumans. Yes, I actually watched that. Agent Carter. And obviously there's all these new Disney Plus MCU streaming shows. WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki, What If, Moon Knight, Secret Invasion, Miss Marvel, She-Hulk. Obviously right now, Agatha All Along. Right? I've seen all these shows, and this bitch boy got the nerve to complain to me like he has no one to talk to about one show being From, and keeps on nagging me to watch it. It's like, boy, you really want to challenge me on how many shows that I don't have anyone to talk to with? I swear to God, bruh. I feel like you guys can hear, right, in my tone of voice, how passionate I am about talking about this stuff. But I don't have anyone to talk to with about this. I think I will probably hatch the rest of this box, maybe call it a night. I don't know. We'll see. It's just about 11:30 right now, 11:29. Nope, now it's 11:30. Oh. So yeah, I'll have to see if I finish the rest of this box or hatch one more. We'll see. What the hell was that? I didn't lock the door. Oh, I did. And that's precisely why. Because I'm sure it was just my dad who was trying to get in. You know, nobody knows how to knock anymore, right? Well, actually, my family doesn't knock when I'm in the bathroom. I don't know about you guys, but that's kind of a pet peeve of mine. When I'm in the bathroom and they knock at the door asking me something, it's like, you really can't wait until I'm out? Can you please not disturb me while I'm in the bathroom? It's like, that's a bit of a pet peeve of mine. Being disturbed while I'm in the bathroom. Whether it be I'm showering or, you know, I'm sitting on the throne taking care of business. It's like, can't you wait a little bit? Can't you wait for me to come out before asking me? You really can't wait. I don't know. It's like, does anyone else... Is that a pet peeve for anyone else, being disturbed when you're in the bathroom? It's a pet peeve of mine. And, you know, something my dad's been doing lately... It's kind of annoying me, but it's like, what am I supposed to do, right? I feel like my dad's just kind of bored, and he just has nothing to do. So, the other night, what happened was, I was cooking dinner. My dad came over, he's like, is there a hair stuck in my finger? Because, you know, sometimes that happens, and it's uncomfortable, right? We've all had hair stuck in our skin where it's not meant to be, and it's uncomfortable. So, he showed me his finger to see, and I'm just like, oh yeah, there's a finger, there's a hair stuck in your finger. Go into my bathroom, grab the tweezers for me, and I'll just take it out for you, because, you know, I was in front of the stove cooking. What a mistake that was! Because my dad, he went into my bathroom and saw, like, wait a second, there's something missing on your counter. So he asked me, like, wasn't there a shelf on your counter? Where is it? As if I'm not allowed to not have it. So I told him, Dad, when, you know, Uncle came over to attend Sister's wedding, we cleaned up the house, right? Any sort of useless junk in my bathroom, I took it down to the basement. My dad immediately went down to the basement, grabbed it, and put it back in my bathroom. And not only that, he was also standing in my bathroom just cleaning up the counter and reorganizing it. You know, he was with the hairdryer cord, just wrapping it back up onto the hairdryer, tidying up. I'm just like, Dad, can you please not mess with my bathroom? And he's like, mess with it? Can't you see I'm cleaning it up for you? You should be thanking me. Now, I don't want to talk back to my dad, you know, because that's my dad right there, but I just really want to be like, Dad, I'm not going to thank you for something I did not ask you to do, okay? I didn't ask you to clean my bathroom for me. You literally just went in here and did it yourself. So, no, I'm not going to thank you for this when I didn't even ask you for it. And, you know, he only does it to me. I don't see him going into my sister's bathroom and just randomly starting to clean up, right? Right? So I was like, this is probably the wrong opinion I have. I just don't feel like I owe him thanks when I didn't even ask him to clean up for me. Right? I literally just told him, Dad, can you go into my bathroom, grab the tweezers so I can take care of that hair stuck in your finger? And then he just looked around while he was there, and he just started to, you know, tamper on his own. He literally went into the basement, grabbed the shelf, and brought it back up to my bathroom without even, like, asking me, do you need it, or is it fine just to leave it down there? He just did it himself. Like, he really likes the idea of me having that in my bathroom, right? Now, that little shelf, it's like a 2-story shelf. It's very small. It's like almost like a medicine cabinet kind of room. That's not how it's it almost has enough room for like a medicine cabinet there. Like, it's a very tiny portable shelf where you can just store a couple items. I never use it. The stuff that's in there I don't even use. It is caked in dust, so I just don't need it. My dad, though, he just seems to love the idea of me having it. I'm low-key about to just take it back down to the basement because I really don't need it. In a way, it's just taking up space. I'm about to go use the bathroom real quick. Okay. There's food outside. So after I'm done hatching this batch of eggs, I'm just gonna go real quick, see what's out there, probably use the bathroom, then I'll be back. I can guarantee you, the moment I open that door, my family sees me walking out, my dad's gonna come in here and grab whatever he needs. Okay, I'll be right back. I'm just gonna leave it at this. Yo, everyone, check this out. So, just a moment ago I mentioned that my dad's chef friend, CN Tower, he just came over with some steaks. I thought they were raw steaks. Turns out not. Like, wow. He literally brought over, like, cooked steak. Here, take a look. So he literally just brought over steak, like already cooked steak. I thought he was bringing some raw ones for us to pack in the freezer. Aside from steak, he also brought lamb chops and duck as well. So I'm just gonna grab a quick bite at 11:40 p.m. at night. Also use the bathroom, and I'll be right back. Just wanted to show that. That steak you just saw, I basically ate all of it. Listen, it may be 11:44 p.m. at night. I'm still chewing. It may be late as hell at night. But hey, I had already cooked steak literally delivered to me and sliced for me. And it's so hot. Bro, I'm not going to pass it up. Of course I'm going to eat it. This is why I'm fat. This is why I'm fat. This is why I'm fat. It really is, sad as it is. This really is why I'm so fat. And you know, that wasn't all. There was plenty more. There's like 2.5 more steaks and like 1 lamb chop, and I think there's like a duck breast also. So it's a lot of food that clearly we're not going to eat all at once tonight. That was just a little sample. You know, from the way it was cooked, like how tender it is and how universally cooked it is, I can tell it's sous vide. I can tell it's a sous vide steak, and then, you know, they just grilled it to get a sear. And I'm pretty sure from past experiences when I've eaten at the CN Tower, that's exactly what they do. They sous vide the steak. Pretty sure. Oops. 3D slightly on. And also, you may have noticed that I was wearing an oven mitt just now. If you even noticed. Yeah, it was staying warm in the oven. You may have noticed that oven mitt was green. Well, that's not my main oven mitt. The oven mitts I use, like, mainly are red, because of course. And actually, I just washed them, so they're drying in the basement. I washed them last night. Aside from them being just, like, genuinely dirty, something happened last night. Last night there was a teensy little fire. Just a teensy little fire. There was a small fire in my oven, because my mom put food that was inside of a paper bag to warm in the oven. Not the smartest move, I know. The paper bag caught on fire, so I put on my oven mitts to, like, pat out the fire. It was small. It was a very small fire, and it was taken out in, like, 10 seconds, so it's fine. Unfortunately, my oven mitts, while not burnt, they did have a char smell to them, and it's like, oh, hell nah. I'm clearly not going to use this with that smell. So, I threw it into the washing machine. I remember when I got these, I think it's Cuisine Art, when I got these Cuisine Art oven mitts from Costco, the packaging did say, like, wash it with cold water in the washing machine, so that's what I did. Well, it's been hanging to dry in my basement since last night. Okay, let me see. How many boxes has that been so far? So, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's been 7 boxes once we finish with these 10 eggs. Do I go for 8? I could. I don't have anything else to do. Let me see. What's my phone power at? 51%. It's not bad. It's okay. Okay. Oh, my family's yelling at me like there's more food. As if I'm not busy doing something right now. Maybe I'll just hatch these last 10 eggs and I'll call it for tonight, because there's clearly a feast outside waiting for me. Yes, it's nearly midnight, and yes, I am eating like a pig, because I am, frankly, I am a pig. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna stop at 7 boxes for tonight. You know, I ate basically all that steak just now. My mom had like 3 pieces, and my sister, she had like 1. This is why I'm obese. This is why I'm single. You know, there is a chance that I might... Well, actually, never mind. There's no chance. I was about to say there's a chance I might get a day off from work tomorrow since my sister's been gone a whole week. Actually, no. No, there's not. There's a chance I might get a half day tomorrow. My sister, you know, she's still jet lagged. But she does need to go in tomorrow because, like, she wants to see, like, alright, what's the damage? What hasn't been done since she's been gone, and what has been done since she's been gone? What does she need to take care of or fix? So she is going to go in tomorrow, albeit late. So at the moment she shows up, I might be able to go home. So I'm going to do these last 5 eggs for tonight. Wow, did I put these eggs in? Like, did I hatch these ones before? Did I forget these ones? Okay, no, it does say if this egg will hatch soon. I think I'm gonna go real quick to see if there's a plate of food out and if my family's gonna eat it all or not. They're not. Like I just said, my family only ate like 1 or 2 pieces. Alright, I'm back. Yeah, there was a plate of sliced duck breast out there. You know, my mom actually looked at me like, you know, you could cut off and not eat the skin on the duck breast. And I just shook my head, no. Yeah, yeah, I'm fat as hell. It's nearly midnight, and here I am feasting on steak and duck. Man, I will never be in shape. I will never look good. You know, I will never have that summer body. Instead, I already have a dad bod. I need to stop before, you know, I have to wipe away some tears. I think I recall Shiny Pansear being more orange. You know when I got up and left just now? I almost thought I got it just because from an angle, from a faraway angle, the color kind of gets distorted. I thought I saw more orange than red. Then I came back and I saw, no, it's still red. It's still normal. Well, that's all I'm gonna do for tonight. So, I have 27 boxes of eggs. If I do 7 boxes a night, that's, you know, 7, 14, 21. Not 28, but hey, 27. So, you know, it's not bad if I do 7 boxes a night and the last one being 6. I'm going to double check all of these real quick just in case. I don't think there was a shiny I missed, but just in case. Whoops. Okay, nope. No shinies tonight. I wonder if any of those were, you know, the ideal nature and perfect IVs or whatever. Perfect stats. Who knows? They're not shiny, they're dying anyways. Okay, folks, I'm going to end this here for tonight. Next time we will hatch probably another 7 boxes. I'm going to go continue being a fat fuck, eating more steak and duck at midnight. Okay, yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.